Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. As we're talking about going quantum and our mastery, one of the topics that's interesting to explore is the Akashic Records. My guest today is here to share how we can read the Akashic Records for healing and growth. Anna Celestino is here with us once again for this quantum conversation. We're excited to have you, Anna. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Oh, thanks so much. It's great to be back. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so as we get started today, share with us the Akashic Records. Do we all have access to them?
Yes, everybody does. And, I think a lot of people think to themselves, gee, I wonder if I could do that intuitive work. I wonder if I could read past lives. And I think we ask the question because we actually all can. Like somewhere inside of us, we know that we're able to do that. And I think it's just a matter of practice, maybe a little bit of training, just a better understanding of what we're doing. But yeah, I think everybody can do it. And I think we all should be doing it. Yeah.
And why is it important? How does it help us to understand the Akashic Records?
There's a lot of different aspects to that. If we're talking about just day-to-day navigating our lives, the way that I look at it is the Akashic Records are, as in your terms, quantum. It's a quantum field. It's a field, a vibrational field that contains everything that's ever been, everything that ever will be. So we can access what's coming, we can access what's been, we can access all of that. And so if we're trying to make decisions about things, here I am, I'm trying to, maybe schedule something. Well, if I'm just relying on myself, it's kind of a best guess. My niece and nephew called me my niece to be and my nephew called the other day because they were planning their wedding and they had a couple dates to choose from. And it's sort of like, best guess, but I got my pendulum out and I started checking and it was like, that one's going to have bad weather. This one is a better day for it. So we kind of worked with the Akashic Records, which is an access to a lot more information that we have individually. And so we were able to, hopefully make it. We'll see. The wedding is in September. So I trust we made the right decision.
All right, that's interesting. So the Akashic Records would know if there was going to be rain that day.
I think it's probability. I don't think anything is completely determined, but I would say probability. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And so you use your pendulum with it. Is that what? So when we're tuned in and tapped in and using our pendulum, I used mine just the other day, and it was confirmed what I knew in my inner knowing anyway. So it's the pendulum helps us access the information.
Right. It helps us access
to within ourselves. So the Akashic Records are us then. They're within us.
Yeah. Well, and the way that I look at it is like, here's this all-encompassing field. And then I have my own electromagnetic field. You have your own electromagnetic field. And so when we tap into the Akashic Records, what we're looking for is how do all the fields go together? And that's something that on our own individually, it's hard to know that. So if I'm tapping into that, I'm looking at, what's happening in the future. What about the timing? What's going to be going on with you? What's going to be going on with me? And I don't need all the details. I just need to know if it dovetails and and I think working with the records keeps us in the flow and in sync with life. So everything's easier, when we're in that flow, when we're in sync versus sort of struggling against it.
Yes. And share with us how you came to work with the Akashic Records. What happened in your life that opened you up to this?
I had a reading with a gal, and she was doing soul profile readings. And the information that she gave me just so resonated and explained so many things in my life. And something in me just said, I have to do this. I have to learn how to do this. And I studied with her for 8 years, um, it- because I loved it. It just made sense to me. So I think there's a part about our current day lives and working with the Akashic records. So day to day, like I said, scheduling, I use my pendulum to check supplements, um, and all kinds of things. So we can use it for day to day things, even like relationships. I was just with a friend yesterday who's a realtor, and she said she uses her pendulum a lot, in relation to things going on with real estate, deals, sales, and things. To she just gets the kind of information she needs to make the right decisions, for her clients, and to help the sale come together. So there's present day stuff, and then there's also past life things, that we can work with. So to me, that's another whole area of working with the Akashic records. It's like, um, if I want to understand why a certain thing is the way it is in my life right now, maybe it started somewhere in the past. And if it started somewhere in the past, and we kind of all know this, but if it started somewhere in the past and I can understand that, then I can understand my life now. And it just frees me up from that pattern. And I mean, to me, that's one of the big goals in our lives, is just clearing our way to be free to express ourselves, to be ourselves.
Very liberating, and sovereign when we're able to do that, because being able to see those patterns. Wow. All right. So we're going to talk about a course that you're teaching to help people read their own Akashic records, or even work with clients, right? So people can do intuitive readings for people. This is really important as people are wanting to step into greater roles. And we hear from many people that they want to do readings for people. So that's
Yeah.
beautiful. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that. But what are some of the tips that you give to people when they enter the Akashic records? Is there a protocol? Can you get it wrong? Is there boundaries that you need to be mindful of, or what's that all about?
Yeah, well, I think people sometimes, I'm just realizing I don't know where my pendulum went. I like to to have it handy. Okay, I got it now. But I realize, I mean, people, I think sometimes worry if they're getting the right information, if there maybe are negative, energies around that kind of thing. So for me, I like to keep it really simple. And I think that intention goes a long way. So when I start to open the Akashic records, I usually just say, I want to work in a clear space, of love and light, and it's simple, whatever that means to you. If you want to call in guides or teachers or angels or whatever you work with. But to me, it's just the intention to have a clear space in which to work, period. That's all. So that's a first step, is you just want to make sure that you've got a nice clear space. And let's see. So again, intention, I guess another way to look at this is structure. I think, you think about it, like the Akashic records are like a giant library, like the biggest library we've ever seen. You don't go into that library and say, I'd like a book. you know, the librarian would look at you like, okay, narrow it down. What kind of book would you like? Fiction, nonfiction, what are you looking for? So it's the same way going into the Akashic records. We want to kind of narrow down what it is we're looking for. So then we get to the right section of the library. So maybe we're looking for something that will help with personal healing, whether it's emotional or physical. So, we set an intention to find what we're looking for in the records that relates to that. or maybe we're trying to understand a relationship that we have with somebody, and maybe there's some history there. So we state, I'm looking for, the information about this relationship. When I do readings for people, and I'm looking to do emotional healing work, I want to find the original lifetime in which the pattern started. I don't want subsequent ones. I want to go right to the root of it and find out, where did this start, and then work with that lifetime, that story, and then you pull that out at the root, and then everything else changes from there. So when I go in, I say I'm looking for the original lifetime in which this pattern began. So structure, I think, narrowing it down, putting some structure around it, using yes or no questions as much as you can.
Mm-hmm. Yes, okay, very good. You had mentioned, when I asked you, about like being able to predict the weather, there's a question from our audience that begs an answer. When you said that it is somewhat probability, does that mean that things can change, or can we alter the records for any future predictions? Can we change altering the records for any future predictions?
I would say yes. I mean, I'm a big fan of, as little as I know about it, I'm a big fan of string theory. I think that there are all kinds of possibilities for us. And I think it depends which path we take, which choice we make along the way. And, again, with the healing part of it, I think all too often, fear plays a part and stops us from making the choices that we want to make, or old patterns and things. That's why we want to clear that stuff out of the way, so that we can make the choices that lead us to those optimum outcomes. So yeah, I think, I think we can, I don't want to say affect the future, but I think we can choose the best path for us. And I think there are multiple options for that.
Okay.
Now, but I do want to say, I do think for sure, because I've worked with this a lot, we can definitely change the past. So we can go in and do work with past lives, and do some healing work on those lives. And then I believe that those records are rewritten all the way up to the present. So if we do the healing in the past and rewrite the end of a story a different way, then it changes everything again, all over again. Everything changes up to where we are now. So maybe instead of coming from a soul lineage in which, a person, made a vow to never trust people again, if we rewrite that and do healing in that, then we become a person from a soul lineage who trusts people, who takes chances. So it does change something in us. So we can rewrite, I think we can rewrite the records. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's beautiful, because, on a subconscious level, with these patterns and maybe vows from past lives of saying money's bad, for example, or one of the big ones we get when working with light workers, encouraging light workers to step up and into business, there's a belief that spirit gets angry when we charge money. And that's something from a past life as well. It's not valuing ourselves. So I can see where it really is helpful to clear those BS belief systems and make it so that we truly are free to be. And I think in a quantum way, I was tuning in last night to our show today, and I saw timelines. And then you were speaking today about the past and maybe the future. I can see where we can choose timelines. There's so many timelines in front of us that we can choose. But look at how limited we are with the patterns that set us in place, that keep us in a timeline that's not to our best advantage. So what we're really doing is when we're changing the Akashic records, it's making us limitless on all of those possibilities, probabilities, and timelines of extraordinary action and beingness.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. That's exactly, yeah, that's exactly it. I have a clearing that I teach. It's my all-purpose clearing, and I use it all the time because I can see where there are moments where something's just stopping me from I've got some events planned, and I could see how I planned them and got them all ready, and could see how it could all happen. But I could also feel like there was a point where it's not going to happen. Maybe just let it go, and I could feel that spot where I would turn on myself or turn back on myself and not go forward. So I've been doing clearing work around that because I'm just not willing to accept that limitation, and yeah, there's fear tied up into it and whatever else, other beliefs that I'm holding, trying to protect myself in some way, but I don't want to live my life that way. I want to keep going forward.
Yes. All right. And so we are going to take questions from our audience. And so those who are in our Zoom audience, please raise your hand if you would like a question with Anna. She will try to drill down into your past life or an issue that's keeping you. And we'll get to that in just a moment. I wanted to see, let's see. Here's a good one. Can Anna tell if I am experiencing lack of financial abundance and money? Is this from a past life or this lifetime? And how do I clear this? Every healer I speak to and do the inner work tell me that this was from a past life where I was in poverty. And now it's clear through my experience here in the physical reality, but that physical reality has not shifted. So interesting. That question is from Sharina. So Sharina, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. You'll just be on audio, but that would be the best way, yeah, to take that question and interact with her. Okay. So Sharina, I have allowed you to unmute yourself if you'd like. There's two of you here, so I don't know if I got the right one, but that would be beautiful. I'm going to make both of those open so you can unmute. There you are. Hi.
Hi.
Hi there. So, Sharina, I actually don't think it's a money issue for you. I think it's, let me look, but I think it's more like a self-esteem or a self-worth. I think it's more about valuing yourself. Honestly, I don't think that, if we go hunting for past life stuff, I mean, we might find some things, but I don't think it's about that at all. I think you're maybe stopping yourself from having the life that you want to be living, which money would help afford, because of so if I were looking in the Akashic records, I'd be looking for something to do with when was the original lifetime in which you decided that you weren't worthy of having find the word, a joy-filled life. Yeah. Does that make any sense?
It does, though. How do I clear that moving forward? That it's not stopping me to move forward on my journey.
Yeah. Let me just see if I can get a glimpse of what happened. I think that just long and short of it is, I think that you experienced an incredible life, but a lot of people suffered, not because of the life that you had, but weren't able to have what you had. Somehow there's guilt involved in you having what other people don't have. That's what you're carrying forward. So I would do an affirmation and just say that there's enough to go around. I can have a joy-filled life, and so can and there's plenty for other people to have the same, and just and give yourself permission to have it. Does that make sense?
So though it does, so does that though clear the Akashic record?
I think
These affirmations.
Yeah, it's, or you can do some clearing work with it. But, for now, I think working with it, like I said before, intention is so powerful. So if your intention is to be free of that pattern, hold to that intention, and let the universe know, I want to be free of this pattern. Yeah. And then, I always encourage people to put a little sign up, where you're going to see it every day on your bathroom mirror or something with that affirmation. There's plenty to go around. That's what I would say. There's plenty to go around.
I have been saying that lately, but when I'm saying that, the emotion I feel it's not aligned. Like when I say that, I'm like, oh, like, what is this emotion?
Yeah. So that's the guilt,
Right?
that's the guilt that you've been feeling. So, you're going to have to, I would do some journaling, and sit down and say, write to yourself, I don't have to feel guilty for having a lovely life. And I think, I always think it's important for us to be an example to other people that they too can have a lovely life, and so I think, you can let go of the guilt by recognizing that you're actually being of service by living a joy-filled life, because that lets people know that they can do it too. And maybe that'll remedy some of the guilt that you're feeling, that it's a service as well.
So Anna, if I do want to do some work with you with Akashic Records, how do I get in touch with you? Are you open to that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. On the offers for with the talk today, there's the breakthrough session, and that's my session that I go in and we rewrite we rewrite the past. I tell you the story. We rewrite the ending together. We do the clearing work so that you can go forward. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Anna, so much. I will reach out to you.
Okay.
Thank you, Sharina. And we'll learn more about all of the items in Anna's special offer and ways that people can work with her. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being vulnerable in this sense. Okay, it is wonderful to see you work. And so because of your work with the Akashic Records and the tools and the processes, the protocol that you have, that really helps you develop your intuition, right? So we talked even just yesterday on our show about knowingness, and this knowingness inside of us. There's tools that help us access it, but that's really what the Akashic Records are as well. It's our access to knowingness. Do you ever doubt? And then how do you move or overcome doubt? Or is your experience with this, has it just totally taken over because in hindsight, you can see how you had the answers all along? What's that like for you with doubt?
Yeah, I'm afraid to say that I don't doubt a lot anymore, because I've
Good.
just done this for so long. But I know that, in the workshops and things that I teach, that's probably one of the biggest challenges that people face, is that trusting piece. They'll work with their pendulum a little bit, but then I don't know if I'm getting the right answer. I don't know, is this me or is this something else? There's just so many doubts that come in that stop us. And what I always tell people is practice on the little things, practice on the things that don't matter, because then when you get to the big stuff, you have more confidence about it. I remember when I remember when I was taking my training to read the Akashic records, and my teacher said, she was explaining some clearing or something, and she said, oh, and then you read a past life, and we all looked at each other and went, we read a past life? What? And well, that's easy for you to say, but how are we supposed to do that? And I remember she said, just start talking. Just start talking, And that was the best advice that she could have given. And so when I actually started working with people, there'd be that moment where, like when I started, like 95% of me was over here saying, are you crazy? This is never going to work. And then 5% was like, just go for it. Just go for it. Say it. And I would just start saying the words, and then more of the story would come. And slowly, as I practiced, now there's maybe like 3% over here, and and then a lot more, 97% that trusts that this is going to work. So again, practice, practice, practice is all I can say. Try it on little things. The other day, I've got this wedding in September, and it's going to be too long a story, but I'll try and make it a short story. I reserved an Airbnb in the town that we were going to be in. It's a little village in France. I'm very excited. And there weren't a lot of places available. So I had reserved this place. Then I had the opportunity to share a place with someone else. And so I was going to just cancel the reservation, but something in me was just sort of nagging at me to talk to my niece-to-be first to see if anybody needed it. And honestly, it was my Saturday. I was tired. I really didn't want to get into a whole thing I just kind of wanted to just cancel it and be done with it. But something inside me just wouldn't let me do that. So I texted her, and sure enough, she wrote back, oh my gosh, my best friend hasn't been able to find a place, and this is great. So I was so happy that I went with it. I trusted that. And I think that's a thing we have to find. And I think the more, I know people say, oh, yeah, I had the feeling and then I didn't do it. And then I saw later, oh, wow, I was right all along. I should have done that or not done that. So we just have to practice.
Yes, practice is really the key. And so we're going to take a few more questions, but I wanted to say, when you teach this, and there's space for you to talk more about your course, do you share protocols and ways that people can go right into it? And do we calm ourselves down? You mentioned the intention and all of that. If we have any fear, will we still get an accurate reading with the fear there? Or do we need to get to a centered place without the fear first?
Well, with the class that we've got in the offers, it's my, beginning class on how to read the Akashic records. There's a whole big section on tapping in, all the things that make it easier for us and make it more so that we can be more confident about tapping in. So there's lots of exercises and things that help with that. I have tried in the class to get things down to yes or no questions as much as possible, so that really anybody can read the records. I teach how to do a relationship reading. So you take, who is this person to me? Why am I in this family? Things like that. And I've got 9 questions, 9 steps to go through that you can just use your pendulum or muscle testing to get a yes or no. You don't have to do an elaborate reading on any of these things. So there's a soul profile reading. You just use the yes or no questions. And that's what I would encourage people to do. And it takes a little bit of practice to just, frame your question. If you're asking, well, what's the best thing? Or you don't want to ask subjective questions, because that leaves a lot of room for error, honestly. So, is this in my highest good? Will there be a positive outcome? And even that, it's hard to know because there are variables, right? But you want to try and ask yes or no questions, and that takes a lot of the confusion out. So I think that's what happens too, is people interpret the answers in a certain way, and then if it doesn't go the way that they think it was going to go, then they're, oh, this doesn't work. But some of that is, how did you interpret that? So I don't like to leave a lot of room for interpretation, like yes or no.
Yeah, just yes or no, and then the questions can build on there. So when you're teaching this class and teaching people to use the pendulum, what do you say when people are like, well, that's me moving the pendulum, or I wanted the answer to be yes or to be no? How do you overcome that?
Well, there's I guess, let me answer the question, and then there's a fun exercise that we could do really quickly. Do we have time for that?
We do.
Okay, good. So again, practice on things that don't have any juice on it, so like the exercises I put people through are, is my name Bob? Well, you ask a name that's not you. Is my name Bob? Is my name Anna? And you do it, you practice on things where the answer, you get a feel for what it feels like when the pendulum goes one way or the other. And then for most cases, you can, then that all works fine. If there's something that you really have a lot of juice on, this is my secret tip. If you have something that there's
or fear around juice, or
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, it's hard I always think of it as, you want the field to be like a sea of glass. And when you get nervous or afraid or whatever, or it's too important, or, then we stir up the water or the vibrational field, and you can't read it accurately. So what I do is I picture a person, a woman sitting in front of me on a chair, and I just see the back of her, and I read for her. And so I detach from myself. Instead of, trying to get the answer from me, I say for her, and I ask the question for her. And that just is enough detachment that I relax and I can get the answers. So that works.
Thank you.
Try.
Wow. Yeah. And Emily, I got your telepathy on that one. Yeah, that was Emily's question. Thank you. I've got my pendulum right here too. And I just used it yesterday. Excuse me. There was a little fear around the question that I was asking. So I closed my eyes, and it was just so comforting every time I opened my eyes and I saw the direction that the pendulum was moving. So that kind of helped me to stay centered and to do a little detachment, closing the eyes. And everything was fine. And today it was all confirmed. Everything's fine. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that this practice that we do with the pendulum, at first we may see it like just spin around in a circle, or we may just see it jitter. But with practice, as you say, our intuition does get stronger. We're better able to read it. So I think it's beautiful that you're teaching this course and assisting all people to step in this way, because I see a world where if we are truly tuned in and tapped in to this inner knowing, that nothing can affect us. For the most part, we will always have the answers. And you've done your job very well if people are in that space. And we've all done our job very well if we do this. So cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, we can only know what we know with our minds, that we're in a box, we're living in the box. And to me, working with the Akashic records, it takes us out of the box. It opens us up to so much more information and the opportunity to be aligned with life in a way that we can forge new paths and we can create new things. And because we're working outside the box now. So the opportunity to create a new world is there for us because we're open to possibilities that we wouldn't have thought of on our own.
Yes. Okay. Here's a question from Debbie, and then we're going to go to more callers. Well, Debbie has her hand raised, so we'll get to you in a moment, Debbie, but this is a good question. Can you ask the pendulum to show me yes, show me no, or maybe? Can you do a
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you can do it however you like, but for me, clockwise is yes, and counterclockwise is no, and then maybe is kind of in the middle. And there are subtleties to reading your pendulum. So if I'm getting a swing like that, I'm like, yeah, this is a definite yes, or this is a definite no. If I get just like a little bit, it's like, I can feel like, a question I'll ask is, do I need more information? Like this could be okay, but maybe there's a better option. So then I start asking, do I need more information? Then I start asking different questions. So there's a subtle variance to how the pendulum works. Once you get used to it, it's almost like it's speaking to you. So I want to just do this. Can we do this little exercise really quickly?
Oh, yes, yeah, let's do it.
All right. So what we're doing when we're using the pendulum is we're tapping into that larger energy field. And that energy is coming through. And what we're looking for when we're doing yes and no questions is will this make me stronger, or will this make my field weaker? So that's basically the information that we're getting. If it's aligned with life, it's going to be stronger. If it's working against life, it's going to be weaker. So we all have this built-in pendulum. And I like to do this exercise because it lets you feel in your body what that energy feels like. So you have to stand up. Change my thing here. So you have to stand up, and then you're gonna lean forward a little bit and let your dominant arm swing. Okay. And then close your eyes and just let your arm kind of dangle. And then we're going to ask, is my name? And then think of your name and just feel the energy as it goes through your body. And your arm now is the pendulum. Okay. So see if it's going in a clockwise direction. And then, is my name Bob? I don't know if there's any Bobs on the call, but hopefully not. Or if it is, think of something else. So is my name Bob? Now feel what that energy feels like and feel how your arm moves with that. So it's just a little way of actually, and then the pendulum is really just an extension of that. So it's energy moving through you. The pendulum is just sort of the end result.
The pendulum is just the end result. That was a really good a tip or an exercise, because even before I felt my arm moving, I felt that answer within. Of course, I know my name is not Bob, but the feeling, and so that's important to pay attention to as well, the expansion or the contraction.
Absolutely.
Contraction.
Yeah. I talk about it as red light, green light. So do you feel it in your body as a green light or a red light or a yellow light? Is it like, yes, the energy is just moving and open and flowing, or you kind of feel the energy contract in front of you, or, well, maybe not. Is it an amber light?
And such a simple tool, but I know people are teaching this to children in their lives, their grandchildren or their kids or teachers out there. And so what a powerful skill in everything, because we're already picking up on this when we look out at the world, when we see certain things. And so you're just helping us get stronger at recognizing the feeling, recognizing the energy, reading the energy of things. And that's beautiful as we all become graduates of this technology. We already have it. We've used it in past lives, I'm certain, but we've forgotten about it. So it's a time of a great awakening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And being able to be sensitive to that and know what we're feeling right in the moment allows us to be present in the moment and have an accurate response to whatever's going on as well. So it's just, the pendulum actually is a training, like you're saying, for that feeling that's already there.
All right. I know people, if they don't already have pendulums, they're going to get a pendulum, and even make a pendant, something, right? You can use a pendant or any kind of a tool like that. Here's a question from Melissa, or a comment. I've noticed when testing, if I second guess or want confirmation on my answer and test twice, then it's always opposite. What's the best way to stay in that balance? So far, it's my own self-doubt, I believe, which makes me want to ask if you found a common denominator in this self-doubt from reading the records.
Well, I don't know. I think it's what we've been talking about. I just think it's a fear. We're working with something that's unseen, and there's just a fear about, am I getting it right? I don't know. I'm not sure that, I'm sure there's probably some common denominators, but I think each of us has our own, kind of worries about this kind. Some people might be, is it me? Is it some entity? Is it, I think people have different doubts. In that case, I would again try something, try that detaching exercise. Either visualize someone in front of you, or maybe you put like an object in front of you and you read on that instead of reading for yourself, so that you get past that confusion that's there.
Yes, get past the confusion. Beautiful. All right, let's go to some more questions. The questions in our Q&A box, I think most people have their hand raised. That's cool. We'd love to have you share your voice with us. So I'm going to ask Susan to unmute. Hi, Susan. Susan, if you're still with us, you can unmute. If you stepped away, we'll circle back. We're going to move right along. Susan, I'll get right back to you. Nancy. Hi,
She can-
Nancy.
Hello.
Hi, Susan.
Hi. How are you? My husband had to mute me.
Thank you, husband.
And guess what? His name is Bob. So you were talking about my husband, huh? I thought that was cute. I'm going, what's my husband's name? Well, anyway, he also for me wrote in a question. I'm having sight problems now, very difficult ones, where I'm actually vision impaired right now with central vision. Could this be a pattern from a past life and I'm just carrying it over?
Let me look, okay?
Okay, thank you. I don't think specifically the sight part of it is past life, but I do think that there's funny, it's similar to Sharina. It's like I feel like there's some forgiveness, self-forgiveness that wants to happen for you. Maybe an affirmation would be, I forgive myself for not seeing what I needed to see in the past. Okay, that makes sense because I feel like I don't want to see something
Yeah.
that happened to me.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so by doing that affirmation, that'll kind of, will that clear out the Akashi part of it?
Um, you know, it's going to help. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm just looking to see if there's something else. Picked up something else. Yeah, I think focus on the forgiveness. You know, I forgive myself. You know, I without reading the records, I would say probably something bad happened that you felt like you blamed yourself. I should have seen this coming. You know, I should have known. And, you know, and you didn't. And it's okay. You know, you did the
Right.
best you could. So I would just focus on, you know, forgiving yourself and it for that lifetime. And then I would look at anything in this lifetime where you feel like um, you know, where you haven't forgiven yourself for something.
Okay, that
Maybe
makes sense.
you turned a blind eye to something that you wish now you'd actually seen and spoken up about.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's okay.
So, Susan, if you wanted to use the Akashic records for healing, Anna, how could
Mhm.
she do that? How could she use it for healing?
Um, you know, I would um you want to sit down and you want to you don't have to be able to read the lifetime. You just have to say, I want to go back to the original lifetime in which this pattern started, or this guilt about not seeing started. And I send healing and blessing energy into that lifetime. You know, in my clearings, I do, you know, other steps and more intricate things. But I think if you just send healing and blessing energy into that original lifetime, and I forgive myself, you know, that's what I would do. And I'd light a candle, I'd make a little ceremony out of it, you know, because
Okay,
the intention is really strong to be free of that.
right, right. That's okay. I can do that.
Yeah,
And I'm getting a picture of what it might be. They're kind of giving me a picture of it.
good, good, perfect. Yeah,
Mm,
and usually what I see in past lives where people are like blaming themselves or not forgiving themselves is they just didn't. They only see their little piece. It's like I could, you know, I should have stopped this war. Well, you know, it's like nobody was stopping that war. It was so much bigger than you. You know, so when you like take a step back and see the bigger picture of what's actually was actually going on, you realize you did the best you could within those circumstances.
Okay.
So if they're showing you a picture of what happened, you know, look at it and see, you know, what were her circumstances? Why, you know, was this all she could see? Or, you know, what were her limitations that she was living with, you know, that prevented
Mhm.
her from being able to act differently.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
thank you, Susan.
Thank you. I really appreciate both your help
Thank
Yeah,
and
be
blessings
well.
to both of you.
blessings to
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to share a quick little antidote about the power of forgiveness. It may seem so simple, but it is really profound. There was a gentleman, Rick Paris, he's been on this show. He was hit by two cars in one afternoon, like right after the other. And he was a shaman before this, so he knew the power of his thought. And he went when he was out, he had a near-death experience in this episode, and he knew that he had to forgive himself for getting into that situation. And he walked out of the hospital the next morning. The police officer, the EMTs were totally amazed because they expected him not even to make it, let alone walk out of the hospital. But it was that forgiveness, forgiving himself for getting hit by two cars running across the street. And so I share that story just to illustrate the power of forgiveness. And we know the Ho'oponopono is dissolving. It dissolves the energy that, and that is, I love you, thank you, forgive me, I'm sorry. And that just dissolves all the energy. So there's something to that technology. And we hope that helps, Susan. So thank you. And thank you for others who are reminded of the beauty of this. And I wanted to say, there was a question, does everyone clear, Anna, when you clear someone in the group? If we set our intention, if we resonate with something similar, would
Sure.
that,
Yeah. Again, yep. That was my word exactly, is the intention. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
All right, beautiful. So let's go on. Nancy, now is your turn. Goddess, you can unmute yourself and say hello.
Hi, how are you? Nice to
Okay.
be here. Thank you so much. I think what I put in the chat, I don't exactly remember the wording, but is there something that stands out for me, whether it's concerned with health or success or relationships, that just something that stands out more prominently than others, or the one theme I've come in particularly to come in with out of curiosity? Does that make sense how I said that?
Yeah, you're asking if there's something that stands out in your records right now for you to
Yeah.
know.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, I'll definitely look, but this is a good example because people, I get this when I'm doing readings for people, and it's similar to like going into the library and asking for a book. Um, it's like I'm seeing all your records, so this is where it helps to really narrow down. So I'm going to ask you, is there something in your intuition that you want an area that you want to know about? What's your
Yes.
gut telling you?
Yeah. Health, healing, health.
Yeah. Are you having a particular issue?
I've had it for a while. I got Lyme disease. It's affected my bones. It's a lot longer. I know I don't have a lot of time,
Yeah.
but I'm always working on it. Right now I can't afford out of pocket expensive holistic care because it is quite expensive, and that's been going on for a while. But I do what I can. I'm a practitioner myself, and things are better, but I'm more wondering if I need to do something else or more. But I always ask, and I just take things day to day, and I follow my gut or intuition or things being presented to me. But and maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I don't know. I don't know.
I think it is, and I think it's just confirming to you that you're on the right track and you've got the right tools, and you're doing the right thing. Absolutely. Trust your intuition and, follow it day by day. I think you're on top of that. I really do. I never discount the emotional aspects of things, like we just did with Susan about, the forgiveness piece. So, I would say if there's anywhere that you could work a little bit more is maybe just checking to see, it's like the key things. Is it fear? Is it forgiveness? Is it guilt? Is it shame? Is it revenge? Go through and ask and try and find, if there's anything that's hooked in there that's keeping you ill. That's somewhat like a way that I would phrase it is like if I felt like I was getting sick or something, I would say, tapping into the Akashic records in a clear space to see, to find the lifetime and the lifetime in which that's affecting me now, that's allowing me to accept being sick.
Right. I understand. Sure. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, I was told a long time ago about being crippled in a past lifetime through an automatic writer. That was so long ago, but it was so accurate, the things that the person said. But that didn't, I was in perfect health then. this
Mhm.
is something I know that came up astrologically that, I was apparently going to go through this journey. And I knew it when I went through it. I go, oh, is this the journey I was supposed to go through? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been,
I mean, the longer I sit with you, I feel like, I don't feel like this is karmic anymore. I feel like, you've cleared all of that. I think, the only remnants that are left are present life stuff that's just getting in the way, tripping you up along the way. And the other thing I would say is, for now, accept that this is what you're dealing with. Don't be living your life thinking that it needs to be another way or should be another way, or it's
Right.
not good enough right now. This is
Right.
what you're dealing with. This is who you are right now. Accept that, you're strong, you can deal with that. And
Yes.
I think the acceptance of that is going to help it
Yeah.
let go too.
Yeah, no, I understand very much. So thank you so much. I appreciate the support in this, and thank you both. I wish everybody
Yeah.
well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Nancy. Okay, all right, so let's do another one. This time is another Susan. This is Susan B. Hi, Susan. You can unmute yourself now and say hello.
Hello.
Hi, Susan.
Okay, well, I would like to know what lessons am I supposed to be learning, or what am I supposed to be changing in this life?
The first word that popped into my head was confidence. Does that make any sense?
It does.
Yeah, confidence, just having confidence in yourself, believing in yourself. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or says or does. It matters what you believe about yourself. That's the message.
Okay.
Have your own back.
Just need the tools to build that up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You've got everything you need. You just, whatever will help you to gain more confidence. But I think, sitting down and writing down, what's true about me, all the positive things that are actually true about you that maybe you don't acknowledge all the time, or you choose not to see, maybe see it from other people's points. What would other people say about you? That's the stuff that you have to integrate and accept.
Okay, I just got to get rid of all the past programming that's saying I'm worthless. And yes. Well, I wanted to ask you too about the pendulum. Does it matter if it's wood, metal, or crystal?
No, whatever feels good to you. Yeah.
None of them matters. Crystals don't have like a different kind of energy or pick up on energy, or
They probably do, but again, really what we're looking for is that energy moving through you. So whatever feels good to you at the end of your hand is great.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, we are going to get to a few more callers, Debbie, Destiny, Pamela, and maybe Alex as well. But I want to ask you, Anna, to share more right now about the course and your special offer. I'm going to put the link in our Zoom chat. And this is beautiful because, we can learn how to do our own Akashic records for our healing, for our growth, for our business, for every step along the way. And again, this is important for our own intuition, building our intuition. So share with us what is included in your special offer.
Yeah, thank you. So I love the idea of putting the tools in people's hands and keeping them as simple as possible, so that anybody can use them with a little bit of practice. So the first offer is my soul work training program. And basically the first part of it is all about tapping in, all the things that we've been talking about, how to open a clear space. What else is in there? Different options that you have, pendulum or muscle testing, that kind of thing. Getting started, reading past lives, spiritual discernment, all that stuff is in that section. Then there's a whole section on trusting your intuition with exercises like we just did with your arm as a pendulum and the red light, green light, things like that to help you practice and just build up that trust for yourself. And then I have 3 readings in there. So one is a soul purpose reading. You can go in and find out which archangel realm you're aligned with. Each of the archangels has a realm that they oversee. And so some of them are for healing, some of them are for teaching, things like that. So you can find out about which archangel realm you're aligned with and, you know, how that relates to your purpose. There's another reading for spirit guide alignment. I think sometimes we maybe take for granted that we are going to have just the right guides, but you know, over time, sometimes we take on the wrong ones or they get outdated or whatever. So this is sort of a refresh to tap in, check on your spirit guides. Do I have any? Do I not have any? Do I need to replace any? So again, yes or no questions. All of these come with worksheets so that you just go down and ask the questions. And then there's a piece in there about what those guides are here to help you with. And then the third reading is exploring soul relationships, which is very fun. You can go in and say, you know, who is this person to me? Why am I in this relationship? And I've got, you know, different reasons that we stay connected to people. So, you know, that's a jumping off point is the yes or no questions. And if you then can go into your intuition, get more information, see past lives, then you can do that as well. So that's the class. And it's a e-course. The other, what else did I have? The other offer, you have to help me out. I know there's a breakthrough session in there. That's where
There's a couple of beautiful, there's a soul profile reading. There's a couple of different, a soul profile reading, a breakthrough session, and then personal sessions, intuitive guidance, and past life reading and clearings.
Yeah. So if you want to do the past life work to find out, geez, where did this pattern, you know, it's a significant pattern in your life that's stopping you. The breakthrough session is so much fun because we go through, I tell you the story, then you join me in the records and we rewrite the story. And it's very fun, but very powerful. So that's the breakthrough session. And then the soul profile session tells you about your soul history, your soul background, purpose, things like that.
Beautiful. So we invite those watching and listening to check it out. You can read about all those beautiful options to work more closely with Anna, helping you know more about yourself and also teaching you how you can tune into yourself even more deeply. It's a really powerful and valuable tool in our world today, as there's so much information coming at us from everywhere. And we want to see the triggers. We want to see what it is that keeps us locked in these patterns or these looping systems so we can totally be free and liberated from it. Thank you, Anna. Thank you for that. Okay, back to questions. This time we're going to Debbie. And Debbie, you can now unmute yourself and say hello.
Thank you so much. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
There.
I'm so grateful. I've been learning to listen to my own intuition. So I was led to be here today and to see you ladies. So my question is, like I wrote in the chat, I feel like I don't understand love and where that really all started, because I have very little self-love, or what I think I should feel like when it's self-love, as well as I feel super unmotivated in my life, and I feel like this is just a pattern of things that I've had no ambition my entire life. So I if I can get insight about that, or maybe questions to ask.
Yeah. The word that's coming to me is numbing. You know, I get the feeling like there's I don't know how to describe it. It's like you've sort of it's like numbing yourself to everything except the essentials to keep you going day to day. You know, it's just like numbed it down or toned it down so that it's like at a really, you know, low volume. And I think some of that was done to sort of minimize pain. And so I think you're going to have to understand the pain that's there in order to go through and be able to face your life in a fuller way. One of the tricks that I use when I'm doing readings, and it's clearly we're stepping into a field where there's a lot of, it was a lot of pain, is I ask for a field of absorption to be placed in the field. And I picture it as like this big sort of cosmic sponge that's going to absorb 90 or 95 or 93%, whatever, a large portion of the pain, so that we only have to walk through a tiny bit of it to do the healing work. So that's what I would say for you, Susan, is, maybe before you go to bed at night, ask for a field of absorption to just, while you're sleeping, to just drain away some of the pain that's been there. And so that you can just have enough that you can face it and work with it.
Okay, so clearly there's way more pain than I even imagined that I just recently dealt with and moved on, and through that realized that my body had been holding stress. So the body had created a stress sweat. So I carried that for 59 years till just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it's taken me a while to figure out that. And I skirted around because I knew what it was involving, but I didn't want to dance with it one more time. So I just found a way around it to deal with the same thing, but clearly it got that part of it. But I really just didn't know how much more there was there. And I think a part of me is just tired and I just don't want to deal with it anymore.
And that's where I'm saying, I totally get it. And that's where I'm saying, ask for some help.
Gotcha.
Ask for some help, with your guides or that field of absorption. You don't need to re-experience or re-traumatize yourself from the whole thing.
Right.
It's past. And I think you've done some of the work to clear the pattern. I think there's a little bit more to do. But get some of that pain out of the way.
Sure.
You'll feel better. I think you'll feel better right away.
Right. I thank you for giving me another perspective of how to look at this and to deal with it and not really dig it all up.
Yeah. Good.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you. Okay. Let's do a few more. We've got Pamela. Hi, Pamela. You can unmute. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, thank you.
My question is, I've been told by several readers that I would be doing Akashic record work and or intuitive readings in the future. And I'm wondering if you see that as a future possibility or not.
Okay, so I'm gonna encourage your intuition. Do you see that?
I do, but I'm always looking for external validation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know
I'm
why,
gonna go with
but
your intuition. Yeah, I'm gonna go with your intuition.
okay. Do you see a time frame on that? I mean, that I don't really get. Do you get a time frame at all?
Are you looking to make a transition like from a job or something? Or
Well, I'm transitioning right now, actually. I'm in the middle of a different sort of transition. That would be something else. I'd be doing, that and looking at doing this. So I am transitioning right now.
yeah, I would just start, I would just start, I don't know if you need training or, need to practice or some learning. I'd start with that now. I don't know that you would expect to, hang a shingle right
Oh,
now.
no,
Yeah.
no.
So get started. Just get started with it.
Okay,
Start
okay,
building your experience
okay.
and your knowledge. Yeah,
All right. Thank you so much for taking my
you're
call.
welcome.
Have a nice
You're
night.
welcome.
Thank you,
too.
Pamela. One foot in front of the other. When
Yeah.
you just start doing it because you love it, right? You love it. And that's the key. And as we do what we love, more is revealed on revenue streams that can be generated, more is revealed on marketing and all that 3D stuff that's so important. And this is a good time. Anna and I later this year will be doing it's a boot camp really, where we're going to share our marketing and media production, business skills for light workers just like you guys who really want to step out and get active and be confident in getting your business off the ground. It's time. We've got information to share with you. So we'll let you guys know more about that. Just stay tuned. That's coming up in October. That's a great time of the year as the year winds down to hunker down and get busy and get prepped for the new year of 2024. So keep that in mind and dream big, you guys. Go for it. You are here on a mission and we are here to support you on that mission. Okay.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Can't wait. Destiny. Hi, Destiny. Darling, you can unmute. Hi.
Hey, my dear.
Hi.
Good to be here with you. My goodness, the last week and a half have really brought me to a place where I have to really, and where I really have to decide what's going on, and I don't want to, I'm wondering if Anna can feel into a little bit of what I'm experiencing right now, because it's like, it's on the left side, but it's very intense. But I'm wondering,
So a technique that I use occasionally is like a containment field. So Destiny, what I would say for you, because it sounds like the feelings are overwhelming, I would close your eyes and visualize taking that energy that's so intense and putting it into a ball, containing it in a ball, of light, or just containing it. And then you can, once the rest of your energy settles down with that energy contained, then you can send healing blessing energy into that container. You can ask for healing for whatever it is that's in that container, but I would say get that energy contained. I mean, I use it sometimes if I don't usually do too much caffeine, but every once in a
I
while,
guess you could say it feels like my solar plexus, my stomach is so bloated. I feel like I can't suck it in and it's painful.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, take whatever those physical sensations are, any emotional sensations, and picture containing the energy of it. Okay. So we're not trying to contain a part of your body, but just contain the energy of it. And then you can even take like an object in your home, like a stone or a gemstone or something, to represent that. And then, do your healing work by sending healing energy, healing and blessing energy into that pattern, that those feelings. And you don't need to define it. You don't need to know what it is. Just, whatever it is, I want to send healing blessing energy, and then let sort of the universal healers kind of tackle that for you.
I feel like
Okay.
it's got to do with power. And I don't, and it's ridiculous because I know that right now, what that is like not current.
Okay, so then this is where we talked about, sending healing blessing energy into the original experience in which, this issue around power began. So you can break that out and say, okay, I feel like it's about my power. I feel like it's from the past. You don't have to have all the details, but that healing and blessing energy is very powerful.
I guess I don't, I guess I'm asking for a little more because right now I'm in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're okay with it, let us move on with the questions. And while we're doing that, I will send you some healing energy.
I'd really appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Destiny. And that's a really cool tool about the container for that
Yeah,
energy.
that really is a good tool.
Uh-huh.
I appreciate that.
In space. Okay. All right. Thank you, Destiny. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
All right. Thanks. Last caller is Alex. Hi, Alex. You can unmute yourself now and say hello. If you are still with us.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Hi.
Can you hear me? Hi, how are you?
Good. Good.
Good. Hi, thank you so much for taking my call. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for connecting. And I just been wondering, what is the energy of scam energy of being constantly scammed for years and being constantly robbed and things like that, and the energy of that. What is something in my field or something in my path is I can't seem to get ahead, no matter how much money I make, it gets stolen, it's taken, or can't move forward. It's I know I'm a master manifester, and then yet it all falls apart. And then
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
this crazy energy that just won't quit. And I'm like, what is my intention? I know my intentions are good. I want to make money to help my kid and help the people around me, want to go visit my family, or, the intentions are not oh, I want to buy this, fancy that. It's all for me, 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 me. It's not. So I'm trying to understand where something in my lineage, am I somewhere in my ancestry where we're still holding on to poverty templates, or we're not enough or something, and I've been clearing that, but it's still there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So this
Like
is similar to what I was saying earlier about how I think I was saying it earlier about how I've got events and things planned, and I can feel myself sort of going up to that point, and maybe undermining myself at right before it happens. Was I saying that on this, or was it on another call I was on before this? But it's Alex, it's the same kind of thing. What I would say, again, today we're talking about ways that you can work with doing this healing work. So the simple way to approach this is you've identified the issue. I get ahead, or I start to get ahead, and then something's taken away, right? So that's the pattern that you keep seeing over and over again. So we send healing and blessing energy to the original experience in which this pattern began, of me constantly keeping myself from being able to get ahead, to move forward.
Right.
So that's the pattern that you want to clear, right? And we want to go to the first time that happened. Where did this start? If you can read past lives, great, you may get the story. If you can't read past lives, it doesn't matter. You're stating your intention to go to the source of that pattern and send healing and blessing energy to it.
Right.
Okay?
And
That's what you want to release.
And is there a pattern with attracting really dark energies? Because they just false energies, false light, or energies that are not of the highest good.
you know, big picture, I think that's all the same pattern. I think it all is, it's just different ways of contributing to
Right.
keeping you behind.
Right. It's like a
You know,
loop.
that's
It's like a weird
really
loop.
big picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are a million ways we
definitely.
can stop ourselves. Dark entities, you know, flat tire, we're having to, you know, a million ways that we can stop ourselves. But the
Right.
point is that it's this pattern of you preventing yourself from getting ahead. So I feel like there's some guilt in there, just to give you a little bit more. I feel like there, you know, in that past life where this all started, you know, similar to the other story we were looking at, you had things, but you felt guilty about having them. And so
Mm.
you know, in my clearing work, we look at what's the vow that I made, so that this never happens again. So I think the vow maybe was to, you know, keep your life simple, not have a lot of material goods, just lay low because you didn't want to overshadow people or have things that other people didn't have because you saw them
Right.
suffering. So, you know, you can look at that pattern for yourself. First of all, you're going to send the healing blessing energy into that lifetime and that pattern. But, you know, how in, you know, this kind of, I think Lauren gets to what we're going to talk about in the boot camp is, you know, do I stop myself from having things because other people don't have it? Or do I find a way to have it with integrity and then be an example that lets other people know you can have this too? And there's nothing
Right.
wrong with it.
Right. Right. Yeah, makes sense. It's just a weird place. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, might as well not have anything because it's just gonna get stolen. That's
Yeah.
the thought, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
It's
but
funny.
that's energy right there. That's
Yeah.
energy right there.
Yeah, I just give stuff away. I'm a giver, but I'm like, okay, I want to give, but I want to receive as well, you know, open those channels, make that balance happen, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This would be a good time. I'd love to share. I overcame poverty consciousness myself, and this is a long story. Mine's centered around rainbow sandals. Trauma of having to return rainbow sandals to the store when I was like 7 years old created this trauma, which was probably other past lives as well. And one thing that I did was let's call them money games. Money's an energy. Money is the prana of the earth, right? Money is prana of the earth plane. And so I started changing the way that I tipped people. My husband would be into making the bill at the restaurant exactly $29.00. So he would tip, you know, the little change to make it perfectly zero. Well, but that was poverty consciousness. That's an energy in itself of like not enough or just, you know, keeping it. So we just flipped it and $11.11. $5.55. And then you can infuse those repeating numbers to go out into the world and to come back at you 10,000-fold or whatever, 1,000-fold or whatever. So that's a freeing energy. So there's many other energy games that you can play around money, but that might help you, Alex, and everyone. And so catch yourself when you say, okay, I'm just not meant to have money. That's BS. That's a belief system that you don't have to be a part of anymore. When you go to look into your bank account, before you go into your bank account, center yourself, feel what it would be like if you had an extra zero on the end of your bank account. Look out the window before you log into your bank account and feel that feeling. And then get into your bank and see what that number is. And regardless what that number is, I did it in my own life. You know, at one point it was really, okay, I had $200, but then it begins to work. So these are just ways that we shift our energy so that we are a fortification against these belief systems that actually affect our energy field, as Anna's saying, that the pendulum picks up on. So shift that, try that. And also just think big. There's more games that we can go into we don't have time for, but lots of ways that you can shift your energy around money. So we hope that helps, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, here is one last question, and this is good for all of us. So Linda has a question. When connecting with the Akashic Records, is there only one record keeper that works with us, or do our angels and guides join us there with their input or observations from watching over us?
Well, I have to say it's speculation. I'm sorry to not have a better answer, but it's kind of speculation because I don't know. There was that movie with Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come, and they have this they have this amazing scene where there's just these people floating around with all the books and the records and everything. And I don't know, I guess that's kind of how I tend to see it. I think as far as the Akashic records go, I mean, in some ways I see it as just like an imprint. It's like when when they made records, LPs and things, you sort of put that imprint, the vibrational imprint into the record. It's kind of like that. So I think it just is what it is. But I also think then that, we have tons of support for us, and, we personify that in whatever way works for us. I don't want to be discouraging or anything. I think, whatever feels right to you, if it's angels or guides or teachers. And I just think there's lots of support for us. And watching Lauren's show, I'm sure there are a lot of people who talk about different forms of that and where all the support comes from. So I'm kind of a mechanics person. I'm kind of more into the mechanics of things, but I know that the support's there.
Yes, the support is there. So much support, teams and leagues and leagues of support. But more importantly, the higher self right there as well. And your higher self is part of so much more. So thank you, Anna, for that clarification. All right. Well, our time is coming to a close, and there's a question that I want to be sure to ask. Now, your program in your special offer, the course, the Soul Work course, is that an online home study course, study at your own pace?
Yes, it is. It's a video course.
Beautiful. With
Yeah,
lots of tools and tips to take these steps and learn about our guides and archangel realm that we come from and how we can be more intuitive for ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Anything else you'd like to share about people working with you and your personal sessions?
I would say, visit my website, theshiftsystem.com. There's a list of readings and things that you can get, but of course, the best way to go is through the offers with Loren. But sometimes you like to do it yourself, and sometimes you need a little help. So if you want a little bit of help, we can do the clearing work together. And I just find when I do the clearing work, things really start to change, things start to move, and it just speeds things up. Anytime you have a coach or a professional, it can speed up the process. So why suffer? Why suffer longer? Just get some help. Let's move it and get you on with the good things you have to share with the world.
And you are a beautiful guide and a beautiful teacher, having gone through this in your own life and learning to read your own records and all of it. So we thank you for being that guide for us, because it does help us move forward at an accelerated pace. So thank you, Anna. Any final comments as we say goodbye?
It's always a pleasure to be with you. I so admire what you do and what you put together for us to learn and grow through the different people that you bring together, and your beautiful questions and your beautiful heart and perspective on everything. So just a lot of gratitude for you.
Thank you. And we are in deep gratitude for all of those watching and listening, because you too are a New Earth leader. You are a New Earth guide. I'm going to cry because we are here at this time to really step up and do it and assist this planet. And it first starts with us. So good luck on your journey, everyone. Thank you for your bright light. We love you. And Anna, thank you for your tremendous work. It's really thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Namaste. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.